Welcome to the UNA Baseball Review. Here are your hosts, Coach Mike Keene and Jeff Hodges.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the UNA Baseball Review. I'm Jeff Hodges along with UNA head baseball coach Mike Keene. Coach Keene, the UNA Lions 22 and 25 overall. You're coming off a big home win over Alabama A&M 5-4 and got a weekend series coming up with Shorter, but trying to build some momentum going into the Gulf South Conference tournament.
Yeah, it was, we had that one stretch where we kind of put ourselves back in there. Then, we played, tough teams again. It was a chance to win some games, and we're unable to get the ball bouncing our way in a couple games. I know Lee, and then the Lander weekends, we just had some balls that just not bouncing our way and didn't get some breaks that we needed, and kind of put us back in the hole a little bit.
The UNA Lions lost a 4-0 game to Lander last week. Lander came in with a 38-6 record. They're ranked number 3 in the nation. A good call by the head coach getting a team that powerful coming in for our off weekend, but it really was good for your team to play a quality opponent. And I tell you what, they got a lot of recognition for their home runs. They came in with 58 home runs for the season, but their pitching staff was outstanding, and you saw some really great arms.
Yeah, that was, beyond that's what we were talking about after the game. I knew offensively they were going to be good, and but their pitching was a lot better than what I thought. What we heard in the scouting report. Even the game when they played Stillman, the guy before that game pitched extremely well. Guy located the ball well. Then obviously the Saturday game was a guy that was a draft guy. And we didn't know until afterwards. It was a mid-90s guy. So we basically had a chance to beat him, and we thought we had that game in hands. But I thought our pitchers did a good job because they're averaging probably about 8 or 9 runs a game, and we held them down both games. So I thought overall pitching and defense really controlled their offense.
As we said, they hit 58 home runs coming in. They didn't have any in the 2 games against UNA. Talk about the first game. UNA lost 4-0. A great effort by Brantley Claunch. The UNA Lions got behind 2-0, gave up a couple late runs, single runs just on some manufacturing of runs, but a really great pitching performance by Brantley in that game.
Right, and I think he did a good job of locating, and you got to locate against him. And he also pitched out a couple jams. That was able to the game could have got out of hand, but he's able to throw some really good pitches and keep the game. And basically, what he did, he kept us in the game. It's just their guy was pitching really well, was matching every pitch, and then we were unable to score any runs, and really didn't get a whole lot going on that game. And unfortunately for Brantley, it was another loss of where he pitched well, but we just didn't score any runs.
And that was the first time UNA had been shut out since way back in February 22nd. You bounced back the next day on Saturday, a 4-3 loss, one of the toughest losses we've had just because of the way the game came down. But UNA with a 2-0 lead early. Great pitching by Riley Sanderson to match the guy that you were talking about, Mason McCullough, who was throwing in the 90s, struck out 12 guys in 7 innings.
Right, and and that was what I'm sure Coach Hancock challenged him that you're going to have to match this guy. We knew he was going to have a good arm, but we knew he had a little control issue, so I felt we could get some guys on base, and that's what I guess was Riley was just really locating the ball, keeping them off balance. Then we got to get in our game. We were able to get a safety squeeze, score a run, got some guys on, moved them over, and then the Matthew Tittle comes up and gets that hit from off the bench, and then hits a double to go up 2-0. You felt pretty good about the game, and really were playing extremely well defensively.
They came back and tied the game late innings. UNA were able to go back ahead 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th, and they were able to get 2 runs in the top of the 9th, where really had an opportunity for maybe a game-ending double play, and the ball took a crazy hop, kind of like Angels in the outfield, and went in, and they got the 2 runs to win the ball game.
Yeah, I think Riley was pitching well, and that one inning that they came and tied it up, he walked and hit a guy, and then obviously they're good enough offensive. They came through and tied it, but I was real proud of the way we came back. We got the lead guy on too. They made a mistake, and then Guzay does a great job moving up a ball in the dirt to get in scoring position. Dylan Boston takes a breaking ball and knocks in a run. So you thought going into that 8th inning, the bottom of the 8th, we're up 3-2. Westy comes in, does what he does, and he gets guy on, and and ends up hitting a guy, but gets that perfect ground ball. And it was one of those things that we've had some balls bounce up, but nothing like that. And I still don't really know what it hit and how, but it's kind of the way the season's been going, and it was really disappointing to watch get that perfect double play ball to where we're really good up the middle, and really kind of got taken from us. And then they brought in a real good closer that was throwing really well at the end.
And the Lions won the final game of the week, a 5-4 win at home against Alabama A&M. You were able to start Cade Medley. You got roughed up a little bit, but I guess the real key in the ballgame was your relief pitching. Didn't give up a run, and 4 1/3 innings, and Bradley Bailey got the win.
It was, early on, we scored our runs early and off of their starter, and then they brought in, I think, the Bowen kid, and he kept us off balance. But the key was, Cade didn't throw as well as he did against Montevallo. We brought Bradley Bailey in and just did a tremendous job. I mean, he just kept it as is and kept the score. brought in Austin Carpenter, did the same thing, and then Westy came in and closed it out. Now, obviously, like us, we're going to make something interesting, or the first guy they hits that little chopper for just kind of a seeing hit. But it was good to make a move, and he got to strike out the end of the game, and a good win for us, and we needed it.
And Bradley Nolan got the hit. Jake Smith drove him in with the run in the 5th, and you had to shut him out those last 4 innings. Were able to do so for the big 5-4 win. I want to talk about another Lion right now, Brett Guzay. He had an outstanding season for UNA in his first season, but 24 sacrifice bunts. He leads not only the Gulf South Conference, and that is a GSE and UNA record, but he also leads the NCAA Division II. And that's quite an accomplishment and being unselfish. And part of that is Jake Ward being on base to give him opportunities to sacrifice. Right. But Brett's really been a very unselfish player and done a tremendous job this season.
Yeah, early in the year when we were, struggling offensively, we had to kind of do some things that we felt we needed to move runners over, and every time we get a guy on, Brett was willing to bunt him over. And it's for our record, that's for some people not take a big record, but I know we've had Brock Beck and Matt Horton. It's been a big role in this program, so that's a pretty big accomplishment considering how many guys we've had to play that role. And it's a very unselfish role, and he's willing to do that. And sometimes he has to come up, and do it 2 times, maybe 3 times a game, because we've had all our games are so tight. But it's a good accomplishment. I know sometimes it's kind of the unsung kind of record, but it's a very important record.
I was going to say it means more this year. It seems because the games are much more low scoring, so many tight games, and in years past maybe you had some blowouts where you were just getting some bunts, but his have really added up and allowed Jake to lead the team and run score with 37.
Right, and that's we felt we're doing that, especially when you got both Kyle Conkle and Dylan Boston have been our top guys with runners in scoring position. So obviously that's what we're going to try to do, give them a chance to give those 2 guys a chance to knock them in. So Brett's willing to do that, and like I said, he's just a really good team player, good player for us, just a sound guy. We're glad he's had this year, and unfortunately we're going to be having him back next year.
You mentioned Brock Beck led Division II in sacrifices in 2004, Matt Horton in 2007, and then Josh Doyle finished second in 2012 with what was a school and conference record at that time. But those marks now broken by Brett Guzay. UNA is a team 3rd nationally with 61 right now.
Yeah, that's what I knew at one time we were up there, so I guess I need to bunt a few more times to try to get us into scoring position to get that. But basically just do it when the games, we need to get the guy over and try to win games, and that's all the point we're doing. It's in, the season's obviously not gone the way we want to, so, we're just trying to get ourselves in best position to win as many games as we can at this point.
We'll take a quick break and have more Lion baseball for you when we come back.
TNT Fireworks is proud to support the University of North Alabama and the Lion baseball team. Like the UNA baseball program, TNT Fireworks is committed to excellence. Our product, service, and teamwork are the reasons we are America's #1 selling fireworks brand. Check us out at TNTfireworks.com. And remember, if it's not TNT, it's not fireworks. TNT Fireworks encourages the entire Shoals area to support head coach Mike Keene and his UNA Lions by attending a game at Mike D. Lane Field. Roar Lions!
What's going on up there? Welcome home, Jeff. This is all for you.
Oh. Are you serious? Welcoming Lieutenant Chuck Nag home.
Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. I'm joined now by UNA pitching coach Matt Hancock. And Coach Hancock, the Gulf South Conference Tournament coming up in Birmingham next weekend, starting on May 2nd. It's going to be a real test for the Lions and for the UNA pitching staff in particular. And we want to talk to you a little bit about just kind of your approach going into the tournament. But, it's a double elimination, so you've got 2 games, but you really want to get off to a good start, and that'll fall on Brantley Claunch in game 1.
Yeah, going into the tournament, the most important thing is you got to win the first game. And, we'll go. One thing we've always done is we kind of stick with our normal rotation, 1, 2, 3, and go from there. And any scenario after that, you just kind of improvise and hope you got enough arms to get through it.
You've been around long enough. You've seen a lot of teams try to experiment or maybe hold a starter for a game, and usually that'll come back and bite you. But UNA won't have that luxury. Obviously, we'll be playing somebody in the range of Delta State, Alabama, Huntsville, somebody like that. So we're definitely going to need a good arm up there, and our guys have pitched well against those teams.
Right, and it'd just be like every other weekend we faced all year long, and it's going to be a challenge, whoever it is, and Brantley will be ready, and hopefully, Riley will be ready game 2, and our bullpen will be ready to go.
One thing the Gulf South Conference has done, and UNA in particular, try to get a lot more 9-inning games in the regular season, because all postseason games are going to be 9 innings. But that will affect a little bit the way you coach and the way your pitchers go in the tournament, is how long to leave them out there, because all the games are 9 innings.
Right, and that, Brantley's obviously used to going 9 innings. Kyle Conkel's used to going in the 9-inning game. The good thing is with Riley is he's had 2 appearances in the last 3 weeks that have been 9-inning games, with going complete game against West Georgia, and then having the opportunity against Lander. So we know how his arm fares in those situations and know when to go to the bullpen and all those things.
And you're going to have all your relievers on call, ready to go. But do you look back at what they've done against those particular teams during the season, or do you just have a scenario of what's happening in that game? I
think you just go game by game. I don't think you try to hold anybody out. I just think you dictate the situation you're in. You go to the right arm at the right time, and you know that the hard part of looking at relievers is you say, well, gosh, we don't want to use him and burn him in one game. But at the end of the day, if you don't win that particular game, it doesn't matter.
And of course, UNA will have the luxury of having Cade Medley back. He's able to get a couple starts here down the stretch, and so having that arm back will help you a lot.
Yeah, Cade gives us experience. He gives us a proven leader out there on the mound that he's going to compete every time. And Cade's not real healthy right now. He's been battling tendonitis all year, and I know he's frustrated because his fastball doesn't have as much life on it. But I talked to him the other day, and with Cade, he's going to throw strikes, he's going to compete, he's going to give you a chance, and that's all we can ask from him.
And as a former pitcher in the Gulf South Conference and having coached in several GSC tournaments, you know what it's all about. But the mental aspect for our guys going in is going to be very important as well.
It is. They got to know that every day is a challenge. But the good thing is you got to win 5 games to win the whole thing, but you'd only do it one day at a time. And that's got to be our approach. We can't say, well, we have them first round, we have them second round. It's show up Friday, win that game, and go from there.
The team's stats this year are pretty impressive. 3.89 ERA, only 227 strikeouts, only 132 walks. So you really haven't hurt yourself on the mound. It's just a lot of it's the fact we haven't scored a lot of runs this year.
We've done a good, solid job, and we've done a good job of the things we talk about. We talk about throwing strikes and forcing contact, and we don't talk a lot about strikeouts. It's always nice to have strikeouts, but I feel that if you throw strikes, you throw quality pitches where you need to, the strikeouts will come. The good thing is when we have made a mistake, we have made a walk, we've pitched to contact, and we get that double play a lot.
One thing we've talked about a lot on the show this season, but UNA faced one of the toughest schedules in the nation. Actually, the Division II does have a ranking for it, and UNA's 26th toughest schedule in Division II this year out of 259 schools. It's the highest of any GSC school, and you play 14 games against top 10 schools. So to have the kind of numbers we've had and competed the way we have, I think you have to be, even though the record's not what you want, you have to be proud of the way you guys have given effort.
Yeah, we knew that going in. We looked at our schedule and we said there's really no free games on this schedule. We had one weekend where we felt like we had an opponent that we were going to be a lot better, and that was Lemoyne-Owen, and that got crazy because we had to play 3 games in one day. So I think the advantage is we've seen the top competition. We know what we have to do to be successful against them, and we just got to go out and execute.
Another stat the Lions are pretty prominent in this season, double plays. UNA ranked 12th in the nation with 42 double plays, closing in on a possible school record. But again, the double plays come from the pitchers being able to get some ground balls and the guys backing you up behind the mound.
Our middle infield's done a great job, and our whole infield's done a great job all year. But the pitchers, I tell them all the time, if you give up a C&I ground ball, you got to understand what they just hit. They found a hole, and all you can do is try to get another ground ball. And we've been fortunate enough to hit them right at guys this year, and that's why the high result of double plays.
And again, the Lions 41st in the nation in fielding. Your pitchers have done a great job. I know Riley Sanderson and Brantley Claunch both had some quick comebackers they were able to catch last week, but all around a good fielding effort by your team as well.
Yeah, that's something we take pride in. We want to have the best fielding percentage among pitchers in the GSC. We talk about it every year. If I could just get Westerhouse to run the ball over to first base instead of the underhand flip from the mound, that helps shore things up. But it's something we work on, we take pride in, and they've done a good job of it.
We'll take another quick break, and we'll have our profile segment for you when we come back.
He is the most interesting man in the Shoals. He is an artist, a writer, a philosopher, a historian, musician, astronomer, wine connoisseur, environmentalist, Peace Prize recipient. When he speaks, people hang on each and every word, especially the verbs. His personality is so magnetic that he cannot carry credit cards. It is said that once he taught a German shepherd how to bark in Spanish and taught a horse to read his email. Someone recently asked him what he did for fun, and here is what he said.
I don't eat out every day, but when I do, I eat at City Hardware because to me, it's the most interesting restaurant in the Shoals.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. It's time now for our player profile segment. And Coach Keene, today we're going to look at a couple of redshirt freshmen and then a couple other guys that have battled back from injuries that you were hoping would be able to play a lot more prominent roles this season. But we're going to start with Will Bishop, freshman from Shoals Christian.
Yeah, Will is obviously when he came in, excuse me, we didn't know exactly the role. All our freshmen were not sure until after the fall. We felt with the depth of our pitching staff, which almost started diminishing after we made that decision. And he was actually up to perhaps pitch a couple games. You know, we had some midweek games where we had him available to go if something went wrong. And then we started getting back to the single games in the 9-inning games. But, you know, Will's been working hard, getting an opportunity to travel with us, see what his first line, and like we talked about the schedule, so he's obviously got to see some of the top teams in the country and see what you have to do, how refined the pitching has to be in order to be able to throw. So, you know, a lot of these guys right now is they got to continue to improve, and then next year they'll get a chance to compete a little bit more steady for a position and roles that they can fulfill, and that'll be for him. And he'll be playing ball this summer, so he'll get a chance to pitch this summer and come back this fall, and we know he's going to work hard. He's always done a good job of working hard with Coach Hancock and trying to get better.
As many left-handed arms you can have in there, the better. Mitchell Lovell, another freshman from Florence.
Yeah, Mitchell Lovell played at Sheffield High School. Very good athlete. You know, he's got a lot of tools. Again, you know, starting in the season, it was one of the positions where, you know, we were deep. Then obviously we had some situations that came back, and, you know, it was another one we actually thought about it, but we were so late into the season, I didn't think it was fair for him to get him, you know, maybe 5-10 at-bats in and then waste a freshman year. But I know he's another guy. He'll be out playing ball this summer. Has been able to travel with us, get a lot of work in, extra. Both those guys are good students, so they've been able to do that part. That's one of the keys. If you're going to redshirt to travel with us, you have to be able to do it academically, and obviously he's been able to do that. And I think he's a guy we're going to be interesting to see how he's next year to be able to compete for positions. And obviously it'll be a brand new season. We're going to be bringing in some new guys. So the thing is, he's had a year under his belt, under our system, so that the next fall everything gets a little bit more easier. You get to understand a little bit better, and then hopefully that will help him.
You've had so many guys, Andrew Allman and just a bunch of other examples of guys that redshirted and then had outstanding careers here at UNA. Will Dennis, starting catcher for you most of last year or part of the season, but had surgery in the off season and been able to come back and bat for you but not play in the field.
Right, you know, that was one of the things I know Will, he was actually a redshirt, came in and you know, had battled through it, worked through there, spent the time, and then got an opportunity, and then, you know, caught for us at midweek games and hit for us, did a really good job at the plate. Really was battling for what's going to be one of the starting positions, a catcher going into the fall, and really thought that he had a really opportunity, especially the way he was going to swing the bat. And then he had the elbow injury that changed the path of what we're going to do, and he's been able to get back. You know, the thing is, when you come back and you're trying to push it, it's just you lost a lot of at-bats and trying to get some consistency. And, you know, he's had some good games for us. It's just been one of those things. It's been tough to get back into the swing of it and trying to win games when we can and trying to figure it out. But you know, one good thing, Will did graduate. He's in graduate school. So that's one of the things about, we talked about getting our student athletes, and he is one that has graduated and is doing well in grad school too.
Another senior from Decatur, Matthew Tittle. You're starting shortstop last season. You knew going into the season he was not going to be able to play much, recovering from a shoulder surgery. He has been able to come back in the lineup. Had, as we mentioned earlier, a great hit against Lander that helped put us on top, but you really missed him this season.
Yeah, he was, you know, going, obviously that's probably the one that changed the most, because we didn't really, you know, our recruiting was, you know, Brett Guzet was going to be our guy that was going to play all infield positions in case something happened. He was going to be at third base, was really where Guzet was originally scheduled to start. Then when he went down with his surgery, which is, I said, I've been coaching a long time, I've never had a position player with any elbow surgeries ever, and I had 2 of them in the fall, so it was really odd. And again, it's hard to come back. His was a little bit, Matthews was later than Will, so he's now finally got back in. We're trying to see if he could play position, and the elbow just has not recovered enough and swelling, so he's been kind of delegated to a DH role, pinch hitter role. But the one thing he's done, and since he's come back, he's had some huge pinch hit roles. I know we had at Lee, and then the other day he had just a huge role. So, you know, that might be what he might have to do at this stretch, and same with those guys. You know, they might be pinch hit, maybe DH. You know, we'll just see, you know, just see how it plays out towards the end.
In addition to the players, so many members of your staff are very important to the success of the program. We want to take a moment and just talk about some of those. But Zach Torborg, starting out, your manager, been with you a long time, done a great job for UNA.
Zach is, you know, Zach does so much more than just the manager. If you see him out there, it's he's basically another coach on our staff. He really understands what we do. Came in as a freshman, and you know, you'll see him out there. He goes over and beyond everything. I mean, he's out there dragging the field, you know, on the laundry, but then he also throws batting practice and bunts in the cage. He's helped me out with hitting fungos. So, you know, he's a really important part of our program, and and he's going to be a senior next year, and I know it's going to be really tough to replace him. And he's got a lot of pride in us winning, and he takes it hard because he's a big impact on our season.
And then Kyle Ford, a lot of people know him as Possum, but your team trainer, he's had a lot to deal with this year.
Yeah, it's one of those things you try not to have your trainer have to deal with a lot, and this is a year that he's had to go with a lot there. I told Dr. Hovatter, who's done our surgeries, I hope not to see him much next year, but obviously Possum's the one that lines all those ups, take care of them, get them healthy, get them back on the field, as possibly as we can. And he's had a year where he's had a lot to do this year.
You've had two outstanding graduate assistants this year, Nick McGregor, who had played at UNA, Blaine Rosenberg, who played at Furman and then Montevallo before coming here. But they've really been able to take a lot off of you and contribute a lot this season.
Right. It was, we did first year we were able to have 2 grad assists. Nick McGregor obviously was a very good player for us. Decided to come back, get his degree, and then help us out. Of course, he understands our system because he was in it. And then Blaine Rosenberg, who was at Montevallo first year. So he's first year you're kind of feeling it out, trying to figure out what all this stuff we're going to do. I'm sure he's not used to us butting and moving runners over, but it's another guy. He's got a lot of energy. Been coaching first base, and so he had a big role for us to get on the road and watch some more guys and recruit a little bit. So those guys have been very impactful for this year, and then we're thankful they'll be back next year, so they have another year of experience under the belt. So that should just make everything better for next year.
And you had a volunteer assistant also, Jordan Nelson, this season.
Yeah, Jordan came in and was looking for a position. He's works with Coach Hancock with the pitchers, and you'll see him down the bullpen, making sure they're ready to go. So if you see that guy waving the hat down there in the bullpen, let us know he's ready. That's what Jordan does. So it was one of those years. This is the most we've had on his staff in a long time, and that kind of helps take some pressure off you and get guys in the right position. And obviously it helps to having a guy in the bullpen to let us know when they're ready.
And then, of course, the last one, Matt Hancock, we had on the show earlier, but Coach Hancock, an outstanding job with the pitchers. He's 9th year in the UNA program, 6 years with you as a full-time assistant, and add on, they just had their second child right at the start of the season. So he's had his hands full this year.
Yeah, it's I know how we've been there. Both of us have been there, and especially when in the season, when you have a child in the season, it's such an important part. And then, but the nice thing with Matt is all you got to do is he handles all the pitching and works down there, and that's what he does, and that's what we'd like to have him do because pitching is obviously so important to the success of your team. And I always thought it's fairly important that you got to have a guy that's with them all the time, not just once in a while, but he's with them for the most part. They really understand that they got a good plan for him, and then obviously he's also out on the road recruiting quite a bit too. So he has to do that role of an assistant. I've been there, and it can be time consuming at times.
We'll take one final break and talk about the Gulf South Conference tournament when we come back.
Hi, I'm Mike Keene, head baseball coach at the University of North Alabama. Have you ever heard the saying, great baseball players are made in the off-season? As a college baseball coach, I can tell which high school recruits are on a weight program and which ones are not. Help your young athlete reach the top of his sport by training with the personal trainers at the Courthouse Racket Club. Our 5 trainers are ready to work at your athlete's pace and your schedule. Try our 3andMe training program designed for 3 athletes to work with a trainer and lower the cost to fit any budget. Call Ken Irby at 764-0034 to set up a program designed especially for your young athlete. The Courthouse Racket Club, proudly serving the Shoals for 30 years.
TNT Fireworks is proud to support the University of North Alabama and the Lion baseball team. Like the UNA baseball program, TNT Fireworks is committed to excellence. Our product, service, and teamwork are the reasons we are America's #1 selling fireworks brand. Check us out at TNTfireworks.com. And remember, if it's not TNT, it's not fireworks. TNT Fireworks encourages the entire Shoals area to support head coach Mike Keene and his UNA Lions by attending a game at Mike D. Lane Field. Roar Lions!
A great combination, Frostbite and Montague's. Florence's first self-serve yogurt shop has over 50 rotating flavors and over 100 rotating toppings. Customizable frozen yogurt. When the cup is full, the toppings are close by. Just weigh and pay. All sandwiches at Montague's are under $5. The best Philly cheesesteak and Reuben in town. Delicious sides, and they cater. Get a UNA student discount, and they accept the main card. Like Frostbite on Facebook. Frostbite and Montague, 1611 North Pine Street, Florence. Open now, Frostbite on the UNA campus.
TVA Community Credit Union is proudly open to the entire community, offering unequaled service and convenience.
They are the TVA Community Credit Union, and they make you feel like you're part of the community, part of the family. Customer service is great. I mean, they're great with my wife and I, my daughter.
We bought all of our houses, all of our cars, everything through them. With a little one running around, I don't have a lot of time, so it's real simple just to pull my mobile up and go straight to the site and check my account.
I recommend them all the time, to be honest with you. For one, I mean, their rates are great. Try to work with you to get you the lowest rates, to get you where you need to be, set you up for the future. Don't feel like I'm a number at all. I feel like I'm a part of the family.
From mobile banking to the latest platform in online banking, we make managing your financing fast and and easy. Our members are the owners of our credit union, so there are no high-priced stockholders to pay, allowing us to give our members totally free accounts and amazing loan rates. TVA Community Credit Union, everybody's credit union.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. Coach Keene, the Gulf South Conference Tournament coming up beginning May 2nd on the campus of UAB in Birmingham. So it'll be our first time playing at UAB. But UNA currently 7th in the standings, may face Delta State, Alabama, Huntsville, somebody like that, depending on what happens this coming weekend. But UNA's going to be a dangerous team. A lot of people are not going to want to face you in the tournament. Looking at it, so many close games this year, and UNA's got some wins over some of the top teams and a lot of close games with those teams and some outstanding arms.
Yeah, I think, and even as a whole, I mean, it's just been a really interesting GSC. There just has not been a lot of blowouts, and obviously we've been right in every game, and it's one of those games that it's going to come down to, we got to pitch it very well. We got to be able to execute and then play clean, and then try to find ways to manufacture runs and hold it off, because one of our strengths is our bullpen late. So for us, our key is to try to get a lead and then keep the lead late, and then that's what's going to be the advantage to us. But it's going to be an interesting tournament.
There have been very few GSC seasons where the regular season champion actually was able to go ahead and win the tournament as well. That's a little bit of a jinx sometimes, but that tells you a lot there that the team that just comes in hot or plays well that particular weekend can win the tournament.
Right, and and there's going to be some, I'm sure, going into this weekend. The regional will have West Florida and Delta State are pretty much going to be in. Then you got a couple of them that are going to be kind of playing to get into that spot, which is going to be Huntsville and West Alabama. Then the other ones, their only way to get into the tournament is you got to win it. So, there's going to be a lot of pressure on those guys to do well at the front end, and that's why I said a lot of them, you just don't know how they handle the pressure. Tournament's different than the regular season. It's just a lot more one game, a lot of sitting around. It's a completely different style of play than what you're used to during the season. So, unfortunately for us, we've kind of had as many delays as you could possibly can. So I can't see anything really bothering us this year.
And it is a double elimination tournament, so the Lions with a couple of shots there and hopefully make something happen. This will be our final show of the regular season. We want to go ahead and thank our sponsors that make this show possible and have for the last several years. I know there are several people you'd like to thank.
Yeah, I like to, obviously the show couldn't be done without their help and their sponsorship. One of the new ones we had this was Montagues and Frostbite, and we appreciate Mitch Wade helping out. And I know he has at the Commons, has this new place on campus, which is, is really great for the university. Obviously we got the Courthouse Racquet Club with Ken Irby, has always been helping us for years with that, does a great job for the community. You got Riccatoni's, now downtown, Rick's been helping out all the university programs. In fact, the other night, this guy was talking about how much he likes eating at Riccatoni's, and Shows Distributing, same thing. These have been helping us, long-time sponsors with Shows Distributing. Our two main sponsors, Shows Distributing, Cotton Johnson over there, then the main sponsor, TNT Fireworks with Terry Anderson, who obviously helped the community, and then especially TVA Credit Union, Kim Burkett, who's really been a big force behind us having the show, and we appreciate every one of those sponsoring the show and allowing this opportunity to have this baseball show.
We had talked earlier with Coach Hancock just briefly about the Lions facing one of the toughest schedules in the nation, and part of that is playing in the Gulf South Conference where it's so competitive. But again, the whole season comes down to this coming weekend and what you can do in the tournament.
Yeah, and I think the one thing is if you can put anything out of this schedule has been so challenging, we're not going to face anything we haven't throughout the season. So we're it's just a matter of whether we can be able to play well and execute and be able to handle the pressures of a tournament.
Again, the Gulf South Conference tournament coming up May 2nd through 6th at UAB in Birmingham. Hope to see you there. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for watching the UNA Baseball Review.